Hi, my name is Ilke van der Zwet and I'm a first year master student, an astronomy student here in Leiden. In the next 5 to 10 minutes, I'll tell you a bit about being a student in Leiden. And after that, we have lots of time to answer all your questions. So we'll start with Leiden. It's also called the City of Discoveries. That's its slogan. And at first, this sounded a bit corny to me. But since I've been living here for about 2 years, I have to admit that it's actually true. The city really is a city of discoveries. And that's mostly, I think, because it's an old city. That means that we have a rich history, even our own holidays. But also, the architecture is very, very beautiful, as you can see here in these pictures. Some would also call Leiden small Amsterdam, and that's, like you can see, true. It is indeed also very small. You can get from one end of the city to the other by bike in about 20 minutes. So everything you want to go is within reach. That's one of the big benefits of Leiden to me. On top of that, it's also a real student city, and you can see that everywhere when you're in the city center. There are lots of cafes and bars and restaurants, and on top of that, there are also a lot of student associations. So if you were to do your master's here in Leiden, there's always something to do. But you're not coming for the city itself, of course. You're coming to study astronomy here at the observatory. The University of Leiden itself is very old, and the observatory too. It was established in 1633. We're now not anymore located in the old observatory, but in a building at the Bioscience Park, which is slightly north of the city center. It's a very nice building with a lot of flex offices for the master students and study rooms and computer rooms. So in our building, there are many places for you to do your homework and do your work and do your research project. But in times like these, we also, oh, well, not only in times like these, but always there's remote access to the observatory computers. So whenever you have to run a big simulation, you can also do that from home. One of the big benefits of doing your master in astronomy here in Leiden is that you will do 2 research projects. These projects are supervised by a daily supervisor and like your normal supervisor. And these people are just the people that are working here. You're really part of a research group. It's almost like a little community because it's not only the science, it's also some social aspects. Let's say someone in your group gets to publish a paper, then there will probably be cake for everyone. It's really like a small community that you're in. On top of that, we also have the Kaiser Lounge, which is just a room where you can chill a bit, take a break. It has some nice couches, there's a coffee machine, a little kitchen, and it's really like the headquarters of astronomy, kind of. So that's also a nice place to meet new people and casually talk to some people. But another place for this is the study association. A big benefit is that it's not only a study association for astronomy, it's also for physics, computer science, and mathematics. So you can also meet people from outside your studies. One of the reasons to become a member is because of the discount you can get on books through them. But that's, of course, not the only reason. There's also a master committee, which hosts and organizes some events where you can meet new people, like I said before. And there are also some business event and career orientation events. So when you're nearing the end of your master's and you're trying to figure out what next, the Leidse Fles, the study association, is also a place for this. On top of that, we have Kaiser, which is the astronomy department within the Leidse Fles. Like I mentioned before, unfortunately, we're not located in the old observatory anymore. But when you're a member of Kaiser, you're able to come here anyway. We host tours for tourists through the building and the little museum, and you can actually become a tour guide. So yeah, you do these tours and you show people the telescopes, and this is a way to see these telescopes, even though in your normal studies you're mostly working behind a computer. Another benefit is the observation nights. Like I mentioned, we have these telescopes, and when there's a special event, like Mars is really pretty for in the night, then a group will go up and just watch Mars. But finally, we also have some game nights and other social events, like you can see here. In these times, we played Among Us a few times. So this is also a place where you can meet new people. And that's, I think, one of the best things here. Leiden is a great city for students, but when you're studying astronomy, there's always people around you and will make sure you feel welcome here. So that was my short talk. Now it's the time for questions. And my peer Nashanti will ask these questions we'll send them over and I will answer them together with Wouter, the study advisor. And hopefully the three of us are here now.
Yes, I think we are all here. Thank you, Ilke, for the presentation. So we are here. My name is Wouter Sklier. I'm the study advisor of the program, of the master program in astronomy. Ilke is one of our students, and Ashanti is here with us as well, who is another one of our students. And now you can ask questions through the presenters wall, and then Ashanti will tell us the questions and we will try to answer them as best as we can.
Yes. I'm still waiting for some questions to come in the presenters wall.
There's a 1 minute delay, so if you're thinking, well, I asked my question already, it takes a minute for us to see it.
Yeah, I do see the participants, so I believe everyone is currently writing. Hopefully, we'll get some questions soon.
So maybe in the meantime, I can ask a question to you both. We have different specializations, of course, and most probably the people watching have already seen the general presentation about the program, and have heard about the 7 different specializations that we have. Which specializations are you doing? And why did you choose for that?
Would you like to go first, Ilke?
Oh, okay. So I'm doing the business specialization. Starting my master's, I was pretty sure I wasn't going to continue in the field of science, so I wanted to obtain some skills that would help me like in the industry. And unfortunately, I haven't had any courses on the business specialization yet. That comes next year, but I am very excited about it.
Right. So for me, I already did a minor in business, science business. And for me, what was important was that I could have as many options as possible. Obviously, astronomy already gives you that. But as Ilke, I wasn't sure if I wanted to stay in the science and academics. So I decided to go for the science and communication master because I love writing and I think maybe journalism is something that I would like to do. And I was also really interested in doing internship abroad, which is something that I've talked to Wouter about already. And that's why I chose for the science and communication specialization. In the meantime, I've seen some questions coming in, so that's really great. I will read the questions and then one of us can just answer the question. So we have a question from Tara Olsen. Do you need 2 recommendation letter to apply for this master?
So that is a good question. In general, yes. So there are a few documents that you need to provide that are mandatory. So, for example, your transcript and a placement letter, which are mandatory. We strongly advise you to provide us with 2 recommendation letters. But if you can only provide us with one recommendation letter, that is also fine. But please try to have at least 1 recommendation letter for your application.
Okay. Thank you for that, Walter. We also have a question from Maria, and she asks, do you have any tips for the placement letter for people coming from the Bachelor in Physics from the UK in my case?
Sure. So the placement letter is a document that you need to write yourself, in which you need to compare the bachelor education that you've had in your own program to a bachelor in astronomy. So you need to compare you need to explain which courses you've done and how those compare to a bachelor in astronomy. So if you've done a bachelor in physics, you already have a lot of modules in the field of physics, of course, and modules in the field of mathematics. And then also in your placement letter, you can explain what kind of modules you might have done within the field of astronomy, or if you've had any research experience in the field of astronomy.
Right. If there are, by the way, any follow-up questions for Wouter, feel free to ask again in the chat. Then we have a question from Freddie, and he asks, hello, is there a specific admission phase for every different master track? I am interested in the instrumentation branch, and I am a foreign applicant.
So we have general admission requirements, of course. You need to have done a bachelor in astronomy or an equivalent degree in general. And for some of the different specializations, we have additional requirements. So for example, if you want to do cosmology, you need to have a stronger background in the field of mathematics and need to have done a bachelor course in the field of elementary particles. And if you want to do instrumentation, you again need to meet the general admission requirements, but also it is very strongly advised to have done a bachelor course on solid state physics. But if you haven't done so, it's not a big problem in that sense. So it's not a requirement, it's a recommendation.
Thank you, Walter. Maria also asked, would it be okay to email Mr. Sphere with some more specific questions about admission? Sure,
of course. So I think you can find my email address on the website. It's studyadvisor@sdrw.lightingunit.nl.
I will throw the email address in the Q&A as well for people that are interested.
Great, thanks.
Then we also have a question, and this is, what kind of specialization do you have and how do they differ?
So for that, I strongly advise you to look at the website as well, and at the general presentation that we have. I think there's a link for that on the website as well, to the general presentation, in which we explain within 15 minutes which specializations that we have. But in our program, we have 7 different specializations. We have the 2 specializations that both Ilke and Ashanti are doing, so that's astronomy and business studies, or astronomy and science communication and society. We also have a astronomy and education specialization, and then we have 4 different specializations that focus more on astronomy research, which are a general astronomy research specialization. We have an astronomy and cosmology specialization, which focuses more on the cosmology aspects of astronomy. We have astronomy instrumentation, which focuses more on the instrumentation aspects of astronomy. And lastly, we also have a specialization which is called astronomy and data science, which obviously focuses on the data science aspects of astronomy.
Then Giacomo asks, what is the difference between starting in September and starting in February?
The starting date itself. Of course, the majority of the students are starting in September. So I think 80% of the students that start within our master program within a year, they start in September. And that is, of course, because most of the educational programs which are before or the bachelor programs usually stop at around August. So usually people start in September. You can also start in February, but there are two programs, two specializations where we strongly disadvise you to start in February. And those are the cosmology specialization and the specialization science communication. But all the other specializations can be started in February.
Thank you. Then we also have a question that says, what if I what if I do have a bachelor in mathematics? How can I apply? There was a typo, so I'm not sure if that's what the question is, but what if I don't have a bachelor in mathematics? How can I apply?
So if you do have a bachelor in mathematics and don't have a bachelor degree in physics or astronomy, you can still apply, but in general, the chances of getting admitted are very low because we expect students to have a full bachelor in physics with astronomy modules, and that's it. And if you've done a bachelor in mathematics, of course, you're very strong in the field of mathematics, but you most probably don't have a very solid background in the field of physics or astronomy. So in that case, you will have too many deficiencies and it will be very difficult to be admitted to the program.
Then there is a follow-up question on that. Oh, there are a lot of questions coming in. That's really great. And a follow-up question from the same person is, or a bachelor in engineering. Maybe you can be more specific on this follow-up question, and then I can ask it again, because it just says, or bachelor in engineering. I don't know what she's asking.
Okay.
So for that person, can you please send a question full and again, and I will read it, and we will answer your question. Then Giaki asks, do students there usually study individually or in groups?
That's a very good question, and I think Nashanti or Ilke can better answer that, right, from experience.
Yes. Yeah. For me, myself, for exams, for example, I study on my own, but for some of the courses, you also have homework or problem sets that you have to solve and hand in, and they strongly encourage you to work with classmates because obviously 4 eyes can see more than 2. So it's really up to you, but a lot of professors strongly encourage you to work with your classmates and exchange ideas during the master. So both is possible, and students often work in groups, but some students also prefer to work on alone. So it's really up to you.
Yeah, I have nothing to add to that.
Then we have a question from Tim. I recently finished my bachelor's degree in applied physics from the Hague University of Applied Sciences, HBO. I read on the website that some HBO degrees need little to no additional requirements to be eligible to apply. How do I know if it meets the end requirements?
So for that, it's best to send an email to me because I can help you figure out if you have the right background to apply. But in general, coming from a HBO degree, which is an applied science university degree in the Netherlands, in general, your chances of getting admitted are not very high because if you have a degree which is not the exact degree that we expect in terms of prerequisites, you can do a small bridging program, but from the HBO, the bridging program will be too big to apply for the master's. But if you want to know for sure for your degree, you can send an email to me.
And I already sent Wouter's email address in the chat, so if you scroll, I will like my own question so that you guys can find it at the top of the Q&A chat. Then we have a question from Daniela. I study engineer physics, where we have a strong foundation in physics. However, I have not seen formal courses in astronomy, but many informal ones. Would this be a problem in applying for the master's degree in astronomy and research?
That is up to the Board of Admissions to decide. So we have, if you apply for the master's program, we have a Board of Admissions that will review your application, and they will decide whether or not your background is strong enough for admission. So for people coming from a physics background with astronomy, formal astronomy modules within their within their previous program, your admission chances are very high. But if you have a different kind of degree, for example, an engineering degree, it really differs per structure of your degree in that sense. So if you've done enough very fundamental physics and mathematics courses, and if you've done formal astronomy courses. So for that, we do only review formal astronomy courses, so courses done at university level in general.
Thank you, Walter. Then Ray asks, how would the master program in Leiden compare to an astronomy master at other universities? What makes Leiden unique?
Yeah, I can take that as well. So in general, it of course differs per where you want to do a master in astronomy. But in the Netherlands, we have 4 institutes which offer a master in either astronomy or astrophysics. For example, Amsterdam offers a master in astrophysics, and the main differences are the structure of the program. Some of these programs have more or less mandatory courses, for example, or offer a lot of elective space in that sense. So in terms of the type of courses that you can choose, there's a difference there. And of course, the type and fields of research that you can choose from. So Leiden is a very, very big international astronomy institute. So that for that reason, we have a lot of different research fields that we are specialized in. We have 8 different research fields that we are specialized in. And that is a benefit in the fact that you have a lot of different research fields that you can choose from when doing your research projects. And we also have a lot of complementary courses that are within all of these very specialized research fields. But of course, other institutes also are specialized within specific research fields which are maybe different from Leiden. So if you choose for a master's in astronomy, I think it's very important to for yourself to decide whether or not there's a specific research field you are interested in, and see if the institutes that you are looking at actually are specialized within that research field.
Thank you, Walter. Maria asks, from what I remember from the intro video, each specialization has elective courses. Is it possible to take some instrumentation courses while in astronomy research or astronomy and data science?
Yes. So there's a structure per specialization, and most specializations allow you to take 1 or more courses from the different fields, from either instrumentation, data science, or physics, for example.
Okay, we have lots of questions still coming in. Alessandro asked, I will get my bachelor degree in July. Can I still apply now before I get my degree, or to start in September?
Yes, please do so, actually, because we have specific deadlines before which you need to apply if you want to start in September. And the majority of the people who are applying for our program actually haven't finished their bachelor's yet. So it's very common to not have your full transcript or have done all the courses already from your bachelor.
Amanda asks, hi, in case there are more applicants than available places, what are the factors which will decide who will get accepted?
Yeah, so we don't have a capacity maximum in that sense. So we don't have a maximum number of places. So we don't look at applications in that sense. We only review each of the individual applications and decide if that individual application is strong enough to be admitted to our program.
Yes. Tara also asks, do you need to submit a placement letter if you have a bachelor in astronomy from a Dutch university?
If that Dutch university is either Groningen, Amsterdam, or Nijmegen, then it is still recommended to have a placement letter, but it can be very short in general, because the bachelor program is very similar to what you've done, what you would have done if you come from Leiden. But in the placement letter, it's still very important to emphasize what kind of astronomy courses you've done.
Just a reminder that you can ask follow-up questions if anything else comes up. We have a follow-up question from the person from a few minutes ago, and the question is it possible to apply for the master with a bachelor in engineering? If so, what are the steps to do so?
You can apply with a bachelor in engineering, but it really depends on this very specific content and grades that you've received within that Bachelor of Engineering, whether or not we see it as equivalent enough to a bachelor degree within astronomy. But if you have a engineering background and have not done any formal education within the field of astronomy and or research within astronomy, the chances of getting admitted are not very high.
Thank you, Walter. We have a question from Sydney. What's the local experience like for an international student? I'm from the US. I think I can answer that.
Please do.
Yeah.
I'm from Curacao myself, currently here, and it's really, you don't feel like an outsider because the astronomy master has lots of international students, and I myself, I find that very incredible because you get to know a lot of people, and you form bonds. For example, I know a girl that comes from Greece, and now she's back in Greece, but we're still in touch. So, as Ilke mentioned, the study has a very small amount of people, so you get to know your peers very, very quickly. So being an international student really doesn't feel like you're out of place or anything. So I would say that should be the least of your worries.
Yeah, so we have a very international community in that sense, and more than 40% of the students are actually from outside of the Netherlands. But sorry, Ilke, you were.
Yeah, I wanted to add an example as to how we're trying to build a community. There are lots of like social events for the whole observatory. For example, whenever there's a new movie coming out that has something to do with science, we rent out a whole cinema and go watch it with everyone that wants to. So there are lots of ways to get to know some people, even though you're from outside.
Yeah. Right. So let's see, have I answered already? Right. Do you consider online certifications in astronomy-related modules?
I think you are referring maybe to MOOCs, massive online open courses, and if that is the case, then the answer, unfortunately, is no. So we only consider courses that are taught and passed on formal universities.
We have a question from Juan. Hi, I'm concluding a Bachelor in Physics with Astrophysics and the Data Science specialization. Sorry, there's a typo in here. Sorry. Hey, I am concluding a Bachelor in Physics with Astrophysics and the Data Science specialization caught my eyes. What are some modules that encompasses in this program, and is it computer science heavy?
Sorry, I didn't hear the what are some modules that?
What are some modules that encompasses in this program, and is it computer science heavy?
Right, yes. So in this specialization, the data science specialization, all of our specializations require you to have at least 60 credits of coursework. And in the data science specialization, you will do coursework within astronomy, but you also need to do at least 24 credits, so 24 out of the 60 credits of courses within the field of data science. And these are either data science heavy astronomy courses, for example, numerical recipes or astrostatistics, but you can also choose for computer science master courses, for example, introduction to deep learning, advances in deep learning, advances in data mining, etc. And these are courses which are taught at the computer science department, but they are also open for astronomy students. So these are, of course, much more data science and computer science heavy, but in general, our astronomy students, they enjoy these courses very much, and they don't have it, of course, as long as you have some background in programming, and I think the majority of the people coming from a physics or astronomy degree already have a fair amount of programming background. But if you do have a programming background, it should not be a problem to do these computer science courses.
Thank you, Walter. We have a question from Freddie, which is a really good question. What is the current impact of COVID-19 in the master students and the facilities?
Yeah, so I think the both of you can answer best as in terms of students and how it impacted you.
Well, obviously, there's the obvious that the institution itself, so the university, is currently closed. So for astronomy student, that means that everything is currently online. Obviously, for me, it took away from the experience because you don't wake up, you don't go to the university. But to follow the courses itself, that wasn't a problem at all because everything is really well arranged and that everything is recorded. You can just follow your courses. There is a standard, normal, and specific schedule that you have to follow. So it's practically the same then online. So I would say that is the major change when it comes to COVID. That instead of going to the university, you have to do everything at home, and you have to stay motivated and know that now that you don't have to wake up and go to university and sit in a classroom, you have to get disciplined to do all that at home by yourself. But obviously, you can always reach out to your professors. So in that regard, nothing changed. I don't know if Olga can add anything to that.
Yeah, I think you mentioned most of it. I'd like to address again that there is remote access to the observatory computers. So some things you might want to do at the observatory because your laptop isn't built for like the simulations or the programs you run, but that's still possible to do at home. So that's a big plus. Yeah, and as for maybe some like mental support issues regarding the whole situation, because it has an impact on us all. I think the department really is good at that. You can always get an appointment with Wouter to discuss some things, but most supervisors, like your daily supervisor or stuff, they will also be happy to help and make some suggestions as to how you're maybe how you maybe need some things. It's a bit vague, but I think you will understand what I'm saying.
No, that's really important.
Yeah. So in that sense, we try to keep tabs on our students as much as possible. And of course, the current situation and the situation as it has been for the last year has been very severe. And at times, and at this time again, the university was forced to close down. But we have had quite a long period as well in which we could offer students to come to the university for a day a week to work on the research and to work on their projects, but also to work on their courses and to, of course, get together with their peers in that sense. The expectations are that at least for the people starting in September, but especially the people starting in February of next year, that it will already be very different in that time. So we have strong expectations that at least for the people starting in February next year, the situation will be much more on campus and most probably will be almost full-time on campus again. But already for the people starting in September, we expect there to be more on-campus opportunities than we have currently at the moment.
I think what Elke said was really important, and not to add any pressure, but as she said, you can always approach Wouter. I myself, for example, when there's anything, it's like, okay, it's time to make an appointment with Wouter. No pressure. So that's really important for the students to know.
Yeah.
So there is a follow-up question. Hi. Usually, how many students are there per master for an intake?
Sorry?
For an intake. Usually, how many students are there per masters for an intake? So I think how many students apply per year?
Right. Yeah. So all new starting students have an intake. So if you start the program, you will have a personal intake with me. That is for all students, also the students coming from our own bachelor. And in general, the number of students that are starting in our program overall are in the range of 50 for the September start and between 10 and 20 for people starting in February. So it's a rather big program in that sense, but we try to keep it as personal as possible.
Daniela asks, I asked from another point of view. I studied engineering physics. I have no formal courses in astronomy, but I did my undergraduate thesis with a professor of the undergraduate astronomy program at Universidad de Antioquia. Sorry. If I highlight that, could that increase my chances of getting into the master's degree in astronomy and research?
It will definitely increase your chances, but I can give no definitive answer on your whether or not you will get admitted or not. That is up to our board of admissions.
Then Amanda asked, is the science communication specialization, do you do science communication and research side by side? And I'm currently doing that. And you have, normally the master is 2 years. So in the first year, you focus on your astronomy courses and your research. And in the second year, you focus on your science and communication courses. And then you also do an internship. What I did personally is that I decided to do my master over 3 years instead of 2. So in my first year, I mostly focused on my astronomy courses. On my second year, I focused, right now I'm doing my research and also some extra courses. And then next year, I'm going to focus on my science and communication part and also do my internship. So there is a distinction between the years where you focus on which component of the master you're currently focusing on. Then we have a question from Tim. Hi, I'm studying aerospace engineering at TU Delft. I saw the list of courses for the pre-master, and is it typo? If you can type it again, that would be great. For the pre-master and something else program, is it possible to do a double master? And I don't know what this word is. Degree in aerospace engineering at TU Delft and astronomy in Leiden after completing the 3-master and something program. I don't know. There's a word that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That is blocked out. No, it's fine. So indeed, if you've done aerospace engineering at TU Delft, there's a pre-master bridging program which you need to do to be admissible to our program. If you've done that, you can start in our master program. And in general, we don't offer standard double master degrees. So if you want to do a double master degree, you need to get approval for your specific degree from both Board of Examiners, and that is a very lengthy and administrative process. So do take that into account. And in general, it will mean normally in astronomy master degrees at least 120 credits. And if you want to do a double degree, you should expect that you will need to do at least 200 credits still in total.
Then we have one last question from Daniela, and she says, if my application is accepted, but I haven't found a scholarship, is it possible to postpone the start date of the program?
You can defer to a later date. So if you have applied to our program and we have admitted you to the program, but you don't have the funding yet to start the program, you can defer to a later date. So that is fine. Just send an email to us and we will make sure that your deferral is being processed.
So those are all the questions that we have for now. We're going to wait 1 more minute and see if anything else comes in.
This is going really well.
Yeah, there are
questions online, and
yeah.
I can imagine for you it's a bit difficult switching between the screens all the time.
Exactly, but that's
like
why I was
moderator.
Yeah, I needed a different screen because I knew that switching between browser tabs, that was not going to be it. I don't see anything else coming in. So obviously we are still available in the chat, Ilka and I. So if there's anything that you forgot to ask and you're not here anymore, then you can always go to the chat. But I think that's all that we have for now.
Sounds good. Okay, Ashanti, Ilka, thank you very much for your presence and for answering all the questions and giving the presentation. Everybody at home, and hopefully see you soon.
Thank you, Walter.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.